بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على مبعوث رحمة العالمين. Before I start, inshallah, I want to apologize for all of you here for yesterday that it took me too late. I stayed for too long, I'm sorry, for the tafseer. And I was not able, or I did not realize that until I went back home. I want to ask a couple of our uncles and elders that approached me afterwards and they said you were late. And in my mind, I was like, no, there's no way I was late. And they were 100% right. Not just 90, they were 100% right. I was very late yesterday, and I said I want to start by apologizing for all of you. It took me too long, and I did not realize. So I have to be very aware of the time. And I want to thank our brothers who approached me afterwards. Jazakumullah khairan. We go ahead and start, inshallah, today. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salli wa sallimu ala al-mab'uthi rahmatan al-alamin. Nabiyyina Muhammadin alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi afdal salatu wa azka taslim. Rabbi shrah li sadri. Yeah, exactly. My brother here is reminding, he said one of the benefits of me being late, it gives us more time for the volunteers to
That's not something new. Every time we have breakfast,
we delay, huh?
longer so they can get ready.
No, true. But hold on. That does not mean I was not late still. I was still late. Okay? So, Jazakumullah khair, I appreciate it. No, that's true. But it does mean still I was late. So that's again, the apology is due, and it's essential. And I appreciate it. جزاك الله خير. اللهم يا رب العالمين يا أكرم الأكرمين يا أكرم الأكرمين اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وأجل الحق على قلبي ولساني وارزقني إخلاصا في كل قول وعمل يا أرحم الراحمين. Today, inshallah, we continue with a couple of verses from the story of Musa alayhi salam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, verse 130, وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ بِالسِّنِينَ وَنَقَصٍ مِّنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. Indeed, we afflicted Pharaoh's people with famine and shortage of crops so they might come back to their senses. Yesterday, we talked about the response after the incident of the staff, the miracle shown to everyone. We said there was 3 different types of responses. The response of Fir'aun and his elites. And what did they say and how they wanted to punish Musa and his people. 2, the response of Musa alayhi salam telling his people to have istana billah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to kind of rely completely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have patience, and in return, or as a consequence of this, he gave him glad tidings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give them back, would make them inherit the land, and make them, if they were righteous. And number 3, we said the response of the people of Musa alayhi salam, Bani Israel, those who believed in him, indicating, he said, nothing changed before you came or after we came. We're still under this oppression and under this punishment. And how Musa alayhi salam responded, I called very nicely to this kind of pushback from the people to say, be careful what you wish for, basically. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you this victory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you this tamkeen, that this ability to rule the land, or to have your own authority. But He will also test you with seeing what you're going to do with this authority that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you. Now we go back, which is a common theme that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in this surah as well. When people don't believe in a miracle Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Punish. But does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never punishes directly? You see? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives still more time. And these verses and the ones that come, we'll see that even after all of this and after this oppression, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this one, وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ بِالسِّنِينَ وَنَقَصٍ مِّنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. That we have taken people, we have afflicted Fir'aun and his people only. So the affliction came very focused on Fir'aun and those who supported him or did not believe in Musa alayhi salam. بِالسِّنِينَ. The word sana, in Arabic, the general term, the general meaning when we say sana, for a lot of us, means 1 year. Sana, am. However, actually, the word sana is also used, and it's more commonly used, to mean a time where they're afflicted by some kind of a hardship. That's sana. So the original meaning is a year. But a year that has some toughness, a year that is with some hardship and with some tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is called sana. Okay? So I always refer back to remind myself and you, we've passed through COVID. That was a sana. Meaning that was a tough year, they were all tested. So a lot of times the word sana means that. So when we said, وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ بِالسِّنِينَ, which is the plural of sana, that means with a lot of affliction. And to be specific is when you have some kind of shortage of water. When the lands be called al-jadb, when the land becomes, because of the shortage of water, becomes dry. So there's a drought. They cannot get the crops to grow. In Egypt, by the way, they have a Nile river. Okay? So the water is always there. But subhanAllah, the Nile has a flood level. So they might have water running, but they have a drought. Why? Because the water is not sufficient. They take care of the people's needs. So even though they have these rivers, they have the Nile River, right? They also are afflicted with such less flooding, equal drought for them. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالسِّنِينَ. So it's not even just one sana, meaning that as if it's an indication, it's not just one affliction, but the affliction or the hardship, this dryness, this drought, impacted the whole entire land. And not just one particular area of Egypt, but the rest of it. And on top of this, وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ, and a decrease or a shortage of crops. So it's both. You have now and then as a consequence, or also as a test, is that they have the shortage of crops. But subhanAllah, you see, always say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, why? لَعَلَّهُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. That even after all of these oppressions and all of this tyranny that is happening by Fir'aun and his people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that, so that they may come back to their senses and remember. So Allah is giving them yet another chance. We're going to test you with hardship so you come back. We've seen this theme maybe 10 verses before, now it's more, 40 verses before. The same exact thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never takes directly. Gives them chances. The chances are in the form of tests. The test can be of hardship or of abundance. And either it's up to us to take this test and say, I need to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to be aware of this test. So what was their response? فَإِذَا جَاءَتْهُمُ الْحَسَنَةُ قَالُوا لَنَا هَذِهِ وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةٌ يَطَّيَّرُوا بِمُوسَى وَمَّعَهُ أَلَا إِنَّمَا طَائِرُهُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. In the times now they are afflicted with hardship or tests. What was the response of Fir'aun and his people? We said, and this is a common theme with a lot of people who were punished, which is they don't heed the test. So they say, in the times of prosperity, they said, this is all for us, that we deserve that prosperity. We deserve all of this good, that's for us. As a matter of fact, not just for us, we deserve it. But in the adversity, instead of looking at themselves, it might be a cause of the test, they say what? They blamed on Musa and all that with him, that believed in him. Surely all is destined by Allah, yet most of them did not know. So a couple of words I want to focus from the Arabic language. You said, first of all, is what? You see how the mindset is there. Instead of heeding the test, learning from the test, reflecting about oneself, the easiest thing is to say, if good happens, that's all us. We deserve that. And that's, as a matter of fact, this is فَإِذَا جَاءَتْهُمُ الْحَسَنَةِ. A good thing is, if something good comes to them, hasana is an indication for anything that is good. قَالُوا لَنَا هَذِهِ. This lana is for us. And the Mufassirin say this lam means lam al-istihqaq. As we said, I deserve it. It's not just for us. It's for us and we deserve it. That's what we should have. Instead of being grateful. لَنَا هَذِهِ وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةً. But if they're afflicted with the sayyi'ah, which is the general term to something that might be negative, or what they see as a hardship. يَطَّيَّرُوا بِمُوسَى وَمِمَّن مَعَهُ. I said, I want to focus on a couple of things, and hopefully you can see it in your mushaf. The first thing is this letter. In Arabic, we can use it's like in English, sometimes we use the conditional form. Say if, right? Sometimes we can use whether, right? We can use different words. In Arabic, same exactly. There's either and there's in. And I want to give you, inshallah, hopefully a lesson you can use everywhere in the Quran afterwards. The word إِذَا said, فَإِذَا جَاءَتْهُمُ الْحَسَنَةِ. إِذَا, if hasana comes upon them. The word إِذَا in the Arabic language is used for something that either commonly happens or for sure it happens. So if I give a conditional saying إِذَا, that means something commonly happens. It happens a lot. Or even 100% sure it happens. Okay? But if I use the word in, it's the opposite. It's something that rarely happens. That rarely happens, or it's actually something that might be even impossible. Something that is impossible. Let me give you an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, what? قُلْ إِن كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدٌ فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْعَابِدِينَ. It says, if there is a child or a son for the Rahman, is there any possibility there's a child for Rahman? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it as a conditional. But he used the what? In, which means what? Something that's impossible. But it's still, just for discussion's sake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the in, just like let's have a discussion around that. So that's one of them. So when you see the word إِذَا, I want you to think about something that commonly happens, or something for certain, 100% sure is going to happen. And in is the opposite of this. Why? So even this, subhanAllah, see the precision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It says, فَإِذَا جَاءَتُمْ الْحَسَنَةِ. And when, or if, the hasana comes to them, the good comes to them, Allah uses the word إِذَا to indicate that even the hasanat, the good stuff, happens even more often. These are the qawm of Fir'aun. These are the people who are tyrants. That does not stop the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Still Allah gives. And when and if affliction happens, use in, which means rarely when it happens. It's much, much less. So even for those who disbelieved and caused all of this tyranny, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them with His generosity and mercy still yet. Gave them more of abundance, less of the affliction, even if it's both there. But imagine all of us as well. When we see our lives, it's the same exact thing. Hardship happens, but it comes under the category of what? In. It happens, but rarely. But good, we cannot count the good of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's a reminder for you and I, when we look at all of these bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we take it with this mindset. But what did they say? We said this is what all of these hardships are because Musa and his people are with us. The first one, because we deserve it. The other, it's for them. I call this, by the way, I call it the hanger mentality. I don't know what it's like. When you hang your clothes on what? A hanger, right? This is what it's called, hanger? I call this hanger mentality. You never want to take responsibility for anything. You hang it on someone else. You put it on the hanger, right? It's not me. Let me put this on the hanger. Okay. Very, very tough mentality. I mean, it's a bad mindset to have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to them and says, أَلَا إِنَّمَا طَائِرُكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is setting a rule here. Said, this is, by the way, one last word. It said the word ta'ir, in translation quick, because I know I'm quick, I'm aware of the time. Ta'ir, it's a word to indicate bad omen. When they have omens, they see something, they say, oh, this is bad. This is like they have to have this bad omen, they have this bad negative. So that's the word ta'ir. That's how they use it. Okay? So it's not like just, it's because of them, it's because of their bad omen that this is happening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says all of this, whether it's bad or good, everyone has to be aware, and this is a lesson for us, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no one else, period, that can cause anything in this world except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes you see that humans are doing something. These are just means. The real doer of everything is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing happens in this universe except by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the idhn of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is it. Okay? So look at things for what they are. And that's what Allah is telling them. Don't look at it, oh, it's for us, this is Musa. No. Take a step back. Everything you have to be aware of is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to reflect on that and see how we react to the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tests and affliction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahum yadhakarun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that they may return back to their senses? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, unfortunately, وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But the majority of the people are not aware. They don't know that. They don't come to these terms of this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, in the next couple of verses, we will talk about all of the different types of afflictions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent for the people of Fir'aun, so that they might come back. So you can see the diversity and the numerous numbers. It's not just one time, one chance. So many different chances for them to come back, yet, as we know all, they did not heed the lesson. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those, first of all, who realize the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who live in this bounty forever, meaning as long as we live. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be among those who are always grateful for the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see what's good in everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us with. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we hold steadfast in any type of test. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove any hardship on any of us here in this place, but any of our brothers and sisters everywhere else in the world, and especially in Gaza and Palestine and in Sudan and all afflicted areas of wars and famines and things as such as well. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who see Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in all our actions, meaning going back to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in all our actions. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgive all of our shortcomings, not thanking Him enough for His bounties. نقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه انه هو الغفور الرحيم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله